Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. Now, we are just a few weeks away from the start of Crested Gecko breeding season here at DBCB Exotics, so I thought I'd take the time and make a video really showcasing all of the breeders and the pairings I'll be doing for 2020. So we'll pretty much just be taking out every single one of these geckos, doing a little showcase, showing them off and talking a little bit about each one, and then later, I actually need your help with something on a specific pairing that I want to do. I'm pretty indecisive on which male and I really need your guys' help. Also, just to note something, my Mexican Black King Snakes will also be coming out of brumation very soon. Valentine's Day is when I'm going to be taking them both out and then start feeding them and then waiting for that, pre-shed and then taking them and seeing if they lock. Very excited about that. Fingers crossed that we get some Mexican Black King Snakes this year. I'll be super stoked. This is my first time breeding them, so I'm a little nervous, but, like I said, fingers crossed. I'm really excited for them. But hey, you guys didn't come here to talk about Mexican Black King Snakes or why I choose to breed at a certain time. Let's get those Crested Geckos out. Alrighty, so the first gecko we are going to be talking about is this male Super Tao. I got this guy last year at an expo for a very good price, and he has been an excellent breeder. Last year producing with Pebbles and Xena, who we'll be taking a look at a little later. This guy was the sole stud to both of these girls. He's actually going to be my main male this year. I do have a grow-out that I'm pretty sure is male, however, I thought he would have grown fast enough to where I could breed him in 2020 with some of my females. Just trying to turn out to be the case. He's just a little, I think he's sitting at like 19 grams right now, just a little too young. I don't want to breed him at that young of an age or that young of a size, even though he is of age. So we'll be using this little dude here again for the breeders for all of the Super Taos. I mean, this guy is just gorgeous. Would you just take a look at him? Not the spottiest gecko in my collection, but what I love is he has a nice contrast of all these black spots, which some pretty big, not ink blotting, but larger than your average dot. And then, of course, the red dots underneath. He is fired up a little bit right now, so it's a little bit more difficult to see, but he does have quite a few red dots on top of those black dots. I've always loved the red and black dots on Dalmatians. The confetti line is just beautiful. I hope to own some in that lineage someday, but the number one reason why I adore this gecko isn't for just the morph or the coloration, it's the head structure. If you look right here, he has this nice head crown, the floppy head crest. That's what I enjoy the most, and it's what I feel like as the Crested Gecko market becomes more and more saturated and flooded with breeders, we kind of stop looking at the structure or how the gecko in general looks. We only are looking at the morph, coloration, or the amount of spots that he has. Now, I know getting short head crests is not always avoidable in the instance if you're getting grow-outs, like personally I got Pebbles as a pretty young girl. She was only 8 or 10 grams when I first got her, and I did have plans to breed her in the future. However, as she grew older, that head crest did not grow bigger, and she has the dreaded what I call kite shape, where there is just no floppiness on the crest. It's very short and thin. Now, though it's not always avoidable, you can take your precautions in just looking at the lineage of the animal. What does mom and dad look like? What do the grandparents look like? If they all have floppy heads, good chances are that grow-out baby is going to have a floppy head too. Yeah, I was gonna think of something wise to say, but cut it. Now, like I said previously, this boy is going to be the sole breeder to the 3 female Dalmatians that we will be breeding. 2 of them are going to be Super Taos, one a Tiger Super Tao, one an ink blot, and then lastly we have the red Dalmatian that I got in the donation video a little bit ago. But speaking of those females, let's put this guy back and start getting out some of the females, starting with Xena, the Tiger Super Tao. And here she is. She is weighing at a whopping 58 grams, which, isn't the heaviest Crested Gecko out there, but it is a little bit on the heavy side. This girl really gained her weight after laying her first, going through the first breeding season of last year, 2019, where she produced some beautiful animals, which we'll be taking a look at a little later, but right now we're here to talk about Xena. So Xena is another one of those grow-outs that I got years back when I wanted to first breed Crested Geckos. I actually found her at a pet store. There's a long story on that. It's one of my reptile room tours. If you guys are interested in the backstory, I kind of give a backstory of each animal, but we're not here to get into that today. And Xena just turned out to be gorgeous. I mean, spots galore. I should have named her Pepper because she literally just looks like pepper sprinkled all over her. Again, she has a great head crest. Not as good as the male, but still, we're not getting that kite shape like I talked about a little earlier. The main thing that I love about Xena is the tiger banding. As some of you guys know, Tiger Super Taos are my favorite morph of the Crested Geckos. I mean, they're just beautiful. You get these nice thick bands, and then the Dalmatian spot, I think, just enhances that contrast. We did sell a good chunk of Xena's babies. There are still a few here at DBCB Exotics, and I figured we can go take a little look at them, showcasing what kind of genetics that this animal with the male produces. Here we have actually the first clutch mate of the round of babies that I got. This was the second baby that I ever hatched, and he just hasn't found his forever home yet. When he did hatch out of that clutch, the first girl was just a stunner. She pretty much had as many dots as Xena had just from the get-go, as just like a 1-day-old baby. It was incredible, and even as the few months that I did have her, she just grew more and more spots. Eventually, when I did decide to sell her, she did sell very quickly. It was pretty much, you know, it's for sale, sold. I did put a constituent on there that I could be using him or her, whatever the sex will end up being, as a future breeder. So we will be seeing a return of that girl or guy later on. However, this guy just was not as lucky. When he first hatched out, there was barely any spots. Like, I think I counted 3 maybe. Now, although he does have a beautiful tiger pattern, I was selling primarily Dalmatians, and this guy just wasn't making the cut out of the stock that I had. Fortunately for him, he was rolled over into 2020. Now pretty at 6-7 months, I believe, he has gained a lot more spots and is looking pretty stunning. He is still for sale once shipping, whether, you know, gets a little better and shipping becomes available. He will be able to ship out at any time. If you guys want to know anything about pricing for any of the babies I'll be showing, you can see them at DVCB Exotics on Facebook. All in all, this is just an awesome little dude. I've made him completely handleable because I've just had the time to, you know, as he's gotten older, you know, as more babies hatched out, I really habituated this guy the most because, I don't know, he just has a little special place in my heart, even as being the least Dalmatian out of all my Dalmatian geckos. However, the luck of the draw wasn't in all of her clutches. In fact, the second clutch she produced really got some stunning babies, which we're going to take a look at right now. Jesus Christ. Man, these guys sure can fly. We have the second clutch of Xena babies, and these guys are just beautiful. I'm seeing a lot of ink blotting as these guys have matured. Now this round is only just a couple months old, but still just stunning. Getting a lot of spots as they go on, and I can start seeing the tiger bands as well. Of course, this guy is fired down right now, so he's just showing a bit of like a pale yellow, but they do fire up a nice, almost like sunburst orange, if you will. I'm not a swatch guy. I don't know colors. Great. Eating no problem, as you guys can see, very active. Of course, these babies will settle down with age, but right now as babies, they just want to hop around everywhere. And would you just take a look at this little guy? Probably one of the best looking... You got on my knee. One of the best looking geckos that we produced here. Of course, the first clutch mate I think might have been a little better, but fortunately I haven't been able to see him or her recently, so just seeing this guy pretty much takes the cake. This one's actually going to be a possible holdback. I'll know a little later once spring comes and shipping weather gets better if I do decide to sell him or not, because this dude has a lot of spots. Not only that, a great color. I love the oranges that these guys produce. I'm not sure where the oranges came from, seeing as Xena is yellow and the male is a pretty much like tan bi-color, you know, almost a buckskin color. Don't know where the orange came from, but it is gorgeous. But not only a bunch of spots with some nice ink blotting, but also these tiger bands are coming in on these guys, and they are just gorgeous. Like I said, you know, the tiger Super Taos are my favorite gene, and I love seeing the babies start producing thicker bands and more spots as they grow older. And now taking a look at our next female breeder, it's going to be that red Dalmatian that I was talking about. Now, although she is fired down right now, I'll be putting some pics probably right here of her completely fired up. She does this brilliant, nice, like neon red, which is just gorgeous. Same thing with the male. I'm not as many spots, you know, I do consider more of a Dalmatian than this Super Tao by marketing standards, but I won't get into that debate right now. But she does have black spots and red spots, which is awesome. I'm really excited to see what she's going to be producing with the male this year. Hopefully we have not only some black and red spot babies, but we also get the red from the mom in them, because even if none of them turn out with you know, just like that one baby where there's little to no spots, I just want to see some nice red patternless if that's what we can get. Now, this is going to be the last breeder we'll be talking about before we get to that question that I mentioned earlier of which male should I pair with this female, where I'll definitely need your guys' help in the comment section, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I definitely saved the best for last. This is Cookie. She is going to be the new breeder for 2020. Now, I got Cookie last year at an expo as a little grow out for been produced to do this season, this year, and God, she has just turned out gorgeous. These ink blots are amazing. I mean, even down to the tail is just filled with these nice giant spots, and it's something that I love to see with grow outs. Although Cookie is 3 years old now, and she is just right at the weight where we can start breeding her. I believe last time I weighed her, she was at 36, 37 grams. However, this was a few weeks ago, and we are getting prepped for breeding season, so she may put on more weight. So how I usually do the breeding rotations, by the way, with only having one male, is I will put one male in with one female, take him out, let him cool down for a week, and then do the next one. Cookie will be the last in rotation, so she can gain as much weight as she needs, whereas the other ones are in the 45 plus range. I want to make sure, although Cookie is over the minimum safe weight, as we like to call it, for breeding, I do want her to have as much weight as possible to make sure that nothing goes wrong. But this has got to be the most exciting pairing of this year for me. I waited a year with this little girl to see her just grow all these spots, and just thinking all 2019, I'm like, oh man, just one more year and I get to breed this girl. The entire year of 2020 after I pair her will just be waiting every single day for these eggs to hatch and seeing if I get these nice big ink blots, maybe some red spots from the male. I don't know, but what I do know is they're gonna be some amazing guys. Alright guys, now it's question time, and here with me is the female Tricolor. Now while this girl is very beautiful, she is a bit of a late bloomer, and I guess I should add as a disclaimer that she may or may not breed this year. Now as of January 20th, the last time I weighed her, she was weighing in at 29 grams, which is not enough of a weight to where I feel comfortable breeding her, to where it's safely, I don't have any problems. Although she's coming up on like 3 or 4 years old, she's just not been putting on the weight. Even with a healthy snack of crickets and dubia roaches on top of some Pangea with the growth and breeder, and then the other formulas as well, she is just not growing as much as the Cookie, the Super Tao. My hopes are, and fingers crossed, that this year we can put the weight on her. What she goes past the minimum breeding weight where I feel comfortable doing it, and I can get a late pairing out of her. However, I may decide just to hold her off until 2021. I haven't fully decided yet. It really depends on this girl and how much weight she gains. But now let's talk about this girl, and I mean, she is stunning. Right now fired down, so the contrast isn't as high. I'll put a picture right here to show you what the fired up looks like, and there's just a great contrast between those sides and that coloring on the wall. I mean, I just can't get enough of it. Not only that, she also is a partial pin down the line, and this is where I really have a trouble on which male I should pair her. And I'll kind of show you both males, give them the pros and cons I'm having in my head, and then really let you guys decide on which pairing I should go with her, because I could do either way, and I want to know what you guys think would be the best for her. Alrighty, now this is going to be male option number 1, and that is going to be that Dalmatian Lavender that I got in the donation video. Now, there are a lot of pros about this guy and some cons, and I want to talk about first the pros. Number 1, he is a lavender, and I think that's really cool. I haven't seen too many lavenders, and it would be interesting pairing a lavender with a Tricolor and seeing what the babies are look like. That's something that really piques my interest, that I would think would be really cool and something to be excited for, seeing, oh, what are they gonna look like? Number 2, he has a great pattern as a Harlequin. There's plenty of pattern on his legs. Pretty much, I don't know how you classify him as a extreme Harlequin. The side, I mean, it's so close to the dorsal. I mean, just barely not touching. So I guess technically, right here it is touching. You know what? Extreme Harlequin marketplace, that value just went up $400. Oh man, the Crested Gecko market, But not only does he have a great side pattern, he is also a partial pin, which would be nice. Now, while he does have some cool, pros, let's talk a bit about the cons next. Number 1 is definitely going to be head structure. It does not get any smaller than that. This is a wicked small head. It's something that I don't really like passing on to offspring, especially since the... Man, you look away for 1 second, it's boom. Especially since the female doesn't have as much of a big head crest as I'd like. I'd like to pair with a male with a bigger head crest to try to get them a little bigger, and this guy just does not have a big head. Something else that I'm going back and forth with is the fact that he is a Dal. He does have quite a few Dalmatian spots, and to be honest, when it comes to pattern animals like Harlequins, Tricolors, Pins, things like that, I don't really like Dalmatian spots on them. I know what you're thinking, Dakota, that Tricolor has Dalmatian spots. Why did you get it then? Okay, well, the Tricolor was fired up, and spots are black, the sidewall's black, so what did you want me to do? I can't see black on black, come on. That is a true story. I actually didn't know she was a Dalmatian until I brought her home, and then I was like, shit, but what can you do? She's home and she's here. So with breeding this guy with a pretty good amount of Dalmatian spots, and then her who has some Dalmatian spots, I would be getting pattern babies with Dals, which I'm not sure that I really like. And it's really the main reason what's holding me back, because I think these guys would produce pretty babies, but do I want pattern Dalmatian geckos? The funny thing is, when it comes to the lavender, and I think it has to do with some of the lighter ones like the blondies, lavenders, creamsicles, even the lily whites, things like that. I like the Dalmatian on the lighter pattern. It's just the darker patterns that I have a problem with. I feel like it muddies the pattern instead of bringing something to it. But we talked about enough with this guy. He's probably hopped off of me 4 or 5 times. Obviously does not want to be here, so oh, caught him. So we'll be putting him back and getting the male option number 2. So I'm taking this guy out right now, and just take a look at these isopods. They're just all over the cork bark hanging around. I believe these are the powdered blues, but I'm not 100% sure. Bioactive is cool. Now, of course, all these geckos are fired down right now. I mean, obviously, when it's time to make a video, everyone's like, oh, no, we don't want to look pretty. And before you guys flood the comment feed with, Dakota, you can fire him up by putting him in a humidity, I don't want to do that. You know, this has already been going on for like an hour and a half. I don't have the extra 40, 50 minutes to be firing up every single one of these guys, so you know. Anyway, this is Almo. He is my first Crested Gecko. He is a Harlequin partial pin, and there are some pros and cons with this guy, and that's what I want to talk about here. Now, first we went over pattern with the lavender. Let's go over pattern with him. Not that great, you know, I'll be honest, not that great. Although when fired up, he does look a lot cooler. Of course, picture's gonna be right there. His pattern is definitely not as strong as the lavender. As you guys can see on the sidewall, there's not much there, you know? And then, of course, I think he does have more partial pinning, especially he has some on the head crest as well and coming down. So there is more of that, which is always cool. He's got those nice little socks, kneecaps, whatever you want to call them, the ones, you know, on the legs where it's white. So pattern, you know, not as strong as the lavender. However, where this guy shines is the head structure. I mean, just look at that. We're gonna need to zoom in on this. Look at that flop. Oh my lord. That's a floppy head. This guy has some great head structure, 10 times better than the lavender Dalmatian that we were talking about, which brings me to really just the question that I've been having this whole time. Would I rather breed a male with a female with better head structure or structure overall, or would I rather breed one with a better pattern? It's a question that really I could go either way. You know, I could have some nice structured Harlequin partial pin babies, or I could get whatever a lavender and a tricolor is going to make, which I don't know, but I guess we'd find out. So what? I don't know. That is the great question. Which one do you think is going to be a better pairing? Is it going to be Almo here with the better structure, or the Lavender Dal with the better pattern? Leave me a comment in the comment sections and let me know, and whoever turns out that gets the most vote is the one that's going to be pairing with that tricolor female. Alright guys, and there you have it. All of my pairings that I'm going to be doing for 2020. Now, I should be expecting anywhere from 30 to 40 eggs this year, which is going to be a pretty big increase to the, I believe we hatched out 10 eggs last year. So, very exciting stuff. We're really pushing forward in 2020 to make this business really come alive. By the way, before I go, let me know how you guys like this backdrop area a little better. I'm actually using, I got the chair right now that I usually use from live streams. By the way, live streams every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's always a fun time. Come hang out. Anyway, I like the chairs. I like sitting on the chair because you guys can see the tops a little better, and then you still get the bottom one, whereas I'm sitting on the floor, you just get this bar. But if you guys like the floor one a little better where I'm just sitting, you know, the chair's not the comfiest, so I'll go back to the floor, but I just think this backdrop looks a little more professional. Hey man, I apologize for that one too. I don't know, it's just a cringy day. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the video for today. Let me know what you guys think. Please answer that question below. I do want to get a nice little poll going. However, you know, with YouTube, me being under 1,000 subscribers right now, it won't let me because I have to be over and monetized in order to do polls and things like that. So make sure you subscribe. Lower right-hand corner right there. Other than that, if you guys like the video, please feel free to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of my animals or breeding products, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at DVCB Exotics. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.